Hey guys, welcome back again with another video, and in this video we are going to make this animated form using HTML, CSS and little bit of JavaScript. You can see that here I have login and register, and I can toggle between login and register. And here we can see smooth animation going on. We have here two fields for login, username and password, and I have created a forget password link also. And here we have login button, and if we go to our registration form, here we have username, email address, password and confirm password. I haven't written here confirm password, but you can write that. I have missed that, but you got the point. And if I click register, it's going to ask me for username. Let's just say I am going to enter a username of Ashish, and in email just say aa@gmail.com. and here if I just focus that or click in here, and if I click to confirm, it's going to go back again to same position. And if I click in here and fill up some credentials, like say I'm going to enter some password, then it's going to be there, the level is going to be up in there. And in confirm password also the same thing. I haven't implemented the logic in here for our front end validation of our form, but I have made the UI looking cool UI in here. This is for embedding in your website. You can embed in your website, add some part in your website. This is not recommended for your separate login and registration page. Obviously you can do that, but I am not recommending that for now. And in here if I click in reset, it's going to reset that all the form. If I click cancel, it's not going to reset, but if I click here OK, then it's going to reset all the fields in here. So that's also the cool thing you are going to learn in this video. I have also implemented JavaScript. I haven't implemented the complicated JavaScript. That's simple, you can learn. Otherwise I'm going to obviously explain everything in this video. I'm going to divide this video into two parts according to improvement or updates. So in this first video we are going to just get our login form, only login form. We are not going to look at our registration form, but if you guys want me to make registration form, then I will obviously make a video in a week. So obviously the video will be out if you guys ask me to make registration form also. So for this video we are going to just make the login form. So let's open up our VS Code or so-called text editor. You can use any text editor of your choice. Obviously I'm not saying you to use VS Code. And in here I have to create two files. Obviously we need HTML file and another is CSS file. Obviously you do that in every project. Yes, I'm right. I hope I'm right. So let's go back to our HTML file, and in here let's just create our boilerplate by just typing our exclamation mark. And in here let's just say login form. Nothing is in here that complicated. Let me just increase a little bit font size so that it will be easier for you to look at in here. And I'm going to just link our CSS file right now. Here is our CSS file linked, and just I want to implement some style. That's the basic style. I'm going to remove the margin from here, default padding also, and I'm going to set the box sizing to border box. And obviously I am going to use the font family of sans serif. So we need not to specify in every block or every element that we are using sans serif font for this website. And another thing what I want to just do is I want to style our body, and I'm going to give it a mean height of 100 px. So that will cover the whole screen. And after that what I want is to have the content center. So if I say display if I'll say display grid and specify the property place item center, then it's going to center all the contents center, and then it's going to center all the contents inside of our body elements. So right now we don't have any contents or elements inside our body tag. Let's just see what it looks like in browser. Open with live server. Our live server has been started at port 5500, and in here you can see that we don't have anything yet. We just have our title in here, login form. So we are going to just make a login form like this, same thing, but we are not going to implement register in this part or in this video. I am going to make it second part for our registration form. Obviously that's a lot you can learn in this video. So you can learn to make these animated labels, you can learn to toggle between login and register, you can learn about the reset and many more things in the video. And I think this design is also cool, just simply simplistic design, minimalistic design, and what you need more than that. Let's just go back in our code editor and just quickly create our form in here. So what we need in here is just a main element with the id of main, and inside there we are going to have everything we saw just now. So in here what I want is to have login button. So that's this is for this one. Let me show you the login button I specified is this text in here, login. Obviously there is register button also, but we are not going to implement that one. So we are going to leave the login button as it is, like it is nothing but except the text. So we are going to leave it as text in here. After that what we have is inside our main div tag we have main form content. So content or contents, so this should be a class main form contents, main form contents. Hit enter and here we go, we have our form contents, and inside in here we are just going to put all of our input tags, some buttons and many more things, these labels, buttons, forget password and login. So inside in there we are going to put everything. So that means we need to have our form tag. Obviously we are making the form, so we need a form tag in here, and inside of the form tag we are going to have the paragraph tag with a class of form item, that's for individual item. Let me show you what I'm referring to individual item when I say individual item. So individual item means this all whole box with our label as username and our input field. So that's the thing I am referring to as the form item. And inside in here we are going to have input element with the type of sorry I misspelled, with the type of text name. I'm not going to give it a name here, just for simplicity I'm not going to give it a name. ID will be username, and below that what we want to have is the label. So label for our username. So let's copy this and paste it in here. The label is for the username. So in for attribute you will put the ID. So this label is just referencing to the input field. So what's the content for the label is username. So this input field is just asking for the username from the user, and just copy that, paste it in here, leave it as form item, and it will be password. Here also say password, and below there we also want here password, and here also we want password, our password. Let me indent it properly. Let me just capitalize it properly. If I go back in here, we are able to see our beautiful login form. And in here, why I have specified label, that means if I click in username, it's going to focus in the field, and that's the corresponding field. And if I click password, it's going to focus in the corresponding field. So that's why I have used in here the label tag. And also for another purpose, I will show that when I'll be working with CSS file. If you are getting value out of this video, then give it a time. And after that, what we want in here is the forgot password link. That means obviously anchor tag or an anchor tag with I'm going to give it a ID of forgot. So ID of forgot, I am not going to reference it anywhere, and I am going to say here forgot password with a question mark in here. And below that we have our button in here, so login button. We are going to just implement that button in here, button with the type of submit. And inside this we are going to have the text of login, and it will also have an unique ID. Obviously the ID is unique for every element in our HTML file. Here I am going to say login submit. So this is login button for submitting our form. I think that's pretty much it for making our login form. Now let's move inside our style sheet. If I show you, we don't have pretty much fancy stuff going in here. We only have our basic HTML things. So we only have our basic HTML elements in here. So let's just style the basic elements in there. So what we'll be having is the main. Just pick up the main element with the ID of main, and this will have height of I think I have given 400 pixel in the previous one. Width will be of 300 pixel. If that won't be sufficient, then we'll obviously add that in later in this video. So after that, what I really want is to give it a shadow of this color. So if I save this, go back to browser, you can see here we have a little shadowy login form, and I'm going to give it a padding of 1 rem from all sides so that the content will be centered, they will not be stick to the edge. And after that, what I want is to say display flex, and flex direction will be column. Flex direction will be column, and align items will be center. So why I'm using here display flex, just to center all the contents in here. You can see that when I applied the center property in there, so when I applied align item center, you can see here the difference. The login has been moved to the center of the form. So for that I have used their display flex, nothing much more fancy stuffs going there. And after that, what we want to really style is our login button with the class of login button. So let's go back to our browser, not the browser, that's let's go back to our style sheet. So inside in here, what I really want to do is I want to increase the font size to, let's just say 1.5 per rem for now. Think I haven't given 1.5 rem in here, but I think I have given that. But in here I'm going to give 1.5 rem, and font weight will be bold. That's pretty much it what we are going to do in here. And after that we are going to just edit or style our input fields. After login button, we are going to target to our main form contents. So main form contents should occupy our full width of 100% and full height. So full height means the remaining height after allocating for our login form. So it's not going to get the space of login text also. It's going to get the space of its own. The remaining space is going to be assigned to these containers or the main form contents. And right now if you look in here, you can see that our input element is going to be stick to our login text right above. So I'm going to give it a padding of 1 rem from top and bottom and 0 from sides. So from left and right side, it's going to have 0 pixels, or in any unit it's obviously 0 is 0 in any unit. So in here you can see that our input element has just moved down, and we want to get the effect like this. So next what we need to do is to target our form element and style our form element. So it will obviously have the width of 100%, height of 100%. I'm specifying width and height of 100% everywhere just to be more confident over our code, so that our code doesn't freaks out. So down below, what we are now going to do is we are going to target our input elements, also our so-called our form item. Let's copy our form item, go back in here, paste in here. It should have the position of relative, and it will obviously have the width of 100%. I don't think you are going to need this, but I'm just specifying it. Who knows if it's going to make any error or make any typo in our website, so I'm just preventing it from the any box that can appear in there. Next we need to style our input element, so I'm going to target here like this. Inside our form item we have input elements, so this should have width of obviously 100%, height of 40 pixel, and this should have border of 1 pixel solid. This will be royal blue, so the color will be royal blue. In here you can see some changes are being happening here. Let's just increase our border width to 2 pixel so that it looks like this. And in here you can see that when we focus, it has outline, black outline. So I'm just going to remove that outline also. Outline will be none. So right now you can see that there is no any margin or space between our two input fields. So we are going to give the margin from top and bottom of, let's just say, 1.3 rem and 0 pixel or 0 from the sides. So we can see here white space has been appear. And after that, what we really need to do is to just style our labels. So if you are wondering what labels are, then this element, I'm saying we have to style these elements that consist our username and password text. And in here we are going to just have the font size. The font size is a little bit decreased, so it will be 0.9 rem. Color will be royal blue obviously, and I just need to copy this thing, copy from here, and this text will also have color of royal blue. Font size will be of 1 rem, and I am going to give it the padding also I don't think we need to give it from top and bottom, but we need to give it from left and right, so I'm going to give 5 pixel from the sides. So right now you can see that we are now able to look in here, and we can find everywhere royal blue. After that, what we really need is to just center this label. So I'm going to say position. I'm going to specify the position as absolute. Give the position absolute, and it think it needs to be centered in here, but it's not centering because we haven't set to center it. So in here I have to say display will be flex align items center. That means it's going to center our label also. Here you can see that our label has been centered, and obviously we need to give it a background color. So in a while later on this video I will obviously explain why I'm using here the white color. Obviously I'm using in here white color because we have background white in here. And another reason I'll just share with you in a while. And you can see in here it is just stick to the edge, so I want to just remove it a little bit apart from our edges of 10 pixel. So it should be 10 pixel apart from our left edge. So right now I'm typing here, but what you can see in here is the text is being hidden behind our labels. So in here you can also see that when I hover over our labels, it's going to change our cursor. So that's not what we want. What we want is just the cursor will be constant in here also. So for that, what we need is to just disable the pointer events and set it as none, and it's going to disappear or remove that cursor from there, and if it feels like we are hovering over our input field, but in reality we are not doing that. So let's just make some little animation in here, animation stuff. So what we really need to do is just copy this one, paste in here, and instead of label I want to change it as input, and it will be CS focus. And here what I want is translate y of minus 100% transform. So right now if our input is being focused, that means we are clicking in our input field. So when we click in input field, just look at in here, this is a funny thing. When we click in our input element, is going to just translate y in y axis. In the y axis is going to translate minus 100%, but we don't want to translate our input element. Instead we want to translate our label, so we write in here label. So in here you can see that our label is being translated. So in here you can see there is not any kind of padding, so we are going to give it a padding in here. So give it a padding of 5 pixel from left and right. We are not going to give any padding from top and bottom. And I'm also giving the transition of 300 millisecond is in out to all the properties. So you can see that here we got our cool animation. And right now if you see in here, if I type something and if I click outside, it's going to overlap there. So it's going to overlap over our enter text. But if I just remove this one, and click outside, it's going to get there. But it is a good thing. But if there is text and it just comes back, then the user experience will not be that much good, and there is high chance that user can exit your website and go back to your competitive website also. So you really don't want that. For that, you just need to copy this line, separate with comma, and in here what I can say that is, when the form is valid, then it's going to translate y-axis. In the translate, it's going to translate into the minus 100%. So if I go in here, you can see that our level is already in upward. So why did that happen? We have specified here valid, but if we go to HTML file, we haven't set any requirements for our validity. So this when does our input element gets valid? We haven't set anything in here, so it's going to validate automatically. So in here, if I say require, if I just add require in both of our input elements, then it's going to need the text in here. So if the text is not entered in here, then it's obviously invalid, and we don't want that. So in here right now, you can see that if I enter any text and just click outside of our form, it's going to stick in there. So that's pretty much it, what we need to know and what we need to do in here. And just let's move downward into our forgot password section. So we are now pretty much done with our thing. We have just spent many minutes in here, but if you are just stick to the end, just let me know in the comment. I think I have given the forgot id. So let's not do typo. Instead we have to check in here. So I have spelled it right. I haven't made any typo in here. So forgot will have the color of royal blue. Obviously we are going to use royal blue in every word. It's going to have text decoration. I'm not going to disable the text decoration from here. The font size should be up 1 rem. Think that's pretty much it, what we need in here. Forgot password, and I think the font weight should be bold enough. Okay, I think that's pretty much what we need. If I see in here, the font size is slightly increased in here, but that's okay in here, I think so. After that, what we need in here is just a button with the ID of login submit. That's obviously the login button right underneath that. I'm going to give it a background of royal blue. It's going to have the width of 100%. Height will be obviously of 40 pixel. We have given height of 40 pixel to every input element, so we are going to just stick to that. After that, what I need in here is to just say increase the font weight to bold, and color of this button should be white. So the color of the text inside this button will be white, and border will be none in here. If I go back, we can see our beautiful button in here, but yet we have some lines of code to write. So I'm going to change the cursor to pointer, mouse cursor to pointer. When I hover over this button, we are going to get our cursor in here. I think I have to increase the font size also to 1 rem, I think. So yeah, it has been increased slightly, and I have to just give it a border radius also. Border radius of just say 5 pixel. How much it is going to be? So it's looking cool right now, but in here we need to give margin. So we are now going to give it a margin. So where we need to give the margin is just give the margin underneath our forgot password. So margin bottom will be up 1 rem. I think it's sufficient for now. Okay, it hasn't been reloaded. I don't know why it's doing that. If I go up in here in form, I have specified here height of 100%. Let me inspect it why it's not working. So we need to really find out the bugs from our code. So I have inspect in here. Let me just remove this. So if I inspect in here, I can see our button in here. Let's just see in here what we have. Margin button is not being implemented. So why is that happening? I don't know about that, but if margin bottom is not being applied, then obviously we can do here margin top. Obviously this gonna work. I think this gonna work. Yeah, that worked properly. And that's it for this video. We have made our login form successfully. Obviously we are going to just style it further, and you can see that in here that's completely responsive in any mobile devices. If you want to just use login form, then you can do that by just using this much of the code. Obviously I will put the source code in the description below, and in the next video, in the next part, we are going to make our register part.